Welcome to the Film Garage 208 podcast. My name is Sarah, and this is Daniel.
Hello.
Hello. Today we have with us Rose Wetzel, the owner of Colt Skincare. She is an esthetician here in Idaho Falls.
Yes.
So tell us about yourself.
So,
Okay, I just have to say it for anyone that's listening. We just recorded 28 minutes, the first half of the podcast. Looked down to end the recording, and we were not recording. So we are.
sorry, I'm like,
Gonna
I
do
know,
this
I
all
was
again.
like, wait, what did I say about myself?
So if any of this podcast sounds weird in the first bit, it's because we're trying to remember.
Because I just said
what
this
we
all
need
to
to
them,
cover.
and they're trying to act interested, and I'm trying to still sound good.
But this will be good. It was interesting.
It was
so
really
we'll get back
interesting.
into it.
We
Okay.
had some great conversation. Okay.
Okay. So I moved here in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I got married very young, had my kids very young, got divorced at 25, remarried at 28, went to school for aesthetics at 36, started my business. All my kids were grown up at that point. My daughter turned 18 and moved out for a little bit, and I just didn't think that was ever going to happen. And I just had like a really long summer of unhappiness, and then was like, oh, in 2 years, Wyatt's going to do this.
Yeah.
And then there's no one else. I mean, we have gotten like 3 dogs since then, but I was like, I really need to do something that I can put my time and energy into. So
Yeah.
I just went back to school and opened my business.
This is so you had more kids.
Yeah. It does feel like a kid a lot. I probably spend more time and attention with my dogs than the kids would say. But
Now they do. All jealous.
right.
So what were you doing before you started skincare?
So I would always just was working. Like I said, I had my kids young and was a single mom for a long time. I worked in the emergency room that's where I met my husband. And then after that, I just worked in different medical offices. I was working on my psychology degree. My last job before aesthetics was in a psychology office, and I was doing a lot more like progressing. And it was just like very quickly. I really loved it up until like right when I didn't. And then I was like, oh, this isn't for me at all. Like, I can't do this. And I started almost having like panics over like being a therapist for someone.
Yeah, so it was like a sudden shift of like, oh God, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And it just
Interesting.
also wasn't what I expected it to be, which is on me, not anything else. Therapists aren't like on TV. So don't base your career off of what you see on TV.
Sure.
And look into it. I mean, I did look into it.
Did you realize that you didn't like it once you started working with people one-on-one or like in the training?
I think it was like I sat through, this is so horrible, but I sat through like a domestic violence class like once a week for a while. And that was just like enough for me. I was like, actually, this is like brings me more anxiety than it doesn't. A lot of people go into therapy and mental health, like usually because they need it. I mean, people make jokes about that and stuff, and so I think I kind of felt like I just had to be one and like help fix other people because like I've needed so much therapy. And then you get into the situation and that's not necessarily always what it is. Like,
I see.
there's some people that don't want help. There's some situations. And I just feel like, I think it was almost like a penance for me. Like I had to like listen to horrible things and help other people just because we should all be doing those things.
Yeah.
And being an esthetician feels selfish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like a luxury good
I love my
versus
job and I have a lot of
something in the
fun at my
hospital
job.
or-
And I'm sure I am doing good, but it doesn't feel like, like, what am I doing to
I see. Like
benefit
making a purpose
humanity
in the world. I see
Yes.
what you mean.
So I think I fully felt like I had to do that. Like I just was
Yeah.
what I had to do, but it was making me miserable.
Yeah.
So
That'd be hard to deal with other people's mental trauma, but like just problems on the day-to-day.
and
Taking
not
it
to be able
on.
to be like, well, stop being stupid. Obviously, this is the problem.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause
you're the problem.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You just have to be like,
That is hard.
right. And that would be a big struggle.
Like, I want to give you my 2 cents.
That would have been a huge
I didn't even
struggle
think
for
about
me.
that ever. That would be really hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And especially like,
It's like even if you know better, you just gotta bite your tongue.
Like, think about this.
right. And what may be best for them
Yeah.
isn't best for them. And you
Yeah.
have to just let that be. And that would be really hard for me. And so like people can come into my office now and I can just have no filter with what I say to them or how I feel like they should do things.
Yeah. You have your
And that's lovely. Yeah.
in-office therapy.
Yeah. And then I'm also like, and then do this with your skin.
Yeah. Stay out of the sun.
right. Do all this inside. So yeah.
Okay, so you have a location
Yes.
on Woodruff, you
On
said.
Woodruff.
Okay.
It's right across from Wackerly Subaru. So it's like North Woodruff. And there's a few other professionals in the office with me. I don't know if it has a name, Woodruff Park Suites. I'm not really sure what the sign says. There's another esthetician and then a lash girl, a physical therapist, and a therapist. So
Gotcha.
they're all in there with me. Yeah, I really like it. I've only been there since February.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I know them very, very well, but it's way, way bigger than my last office, and that's so nice.
Yeah. And so you're expanding, you're moving.
Yes, yeah, I grew into a much bigger room.
That's exciting.
That was exciting. It was so nice. It was so much fun to have a bigger room for a minute.
It probably felt so good to bring all your stuff into that room and just like space out.
Yes. Well, I filled it quickly because I love to buy things. So that wasn't an issue. But it was getting to a point in my old room that like I had to know like what was going to happen. And I'll have clients that come in and like decide they want to do something different or add different things. And that would be like, okay, well, you have to leave the room because I have to move this. And then
I see.
I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it felt like it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like burns you out a little bit. Like I was getting to a point where I was like, I don't know, you just get like a whole refresh when the room's bigger and you have so much more space.
100%.
It just gave me like a whole new boost
That's exciting.
in February, which is good because I'm always super depressed in February.
Yeah.
So like,
So do you think
so
it
now
like
every February I'll just do something really big with my business
Yeah.
and that'll get me through the last of the seasonal
Yeah.
depression.
So are you like riding a high from that? Are you have any
I
cool
really
things with your
love my
business with it?
room. Like
Yeah.
I still, every time I walk into my office and I'm like, oh, this is so much fun to be here. And it's just nice because I leave my house that I love and go to a room that I love. So I just kind of feel like I'm always in my space, which is very nice and very important to me. And so that's really nice. Yeah. I am
Yeah.
still kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to focus on your job when you don't have to worry about those extra things.
Yes.
The room.
Well, and I just like, it
supplies.
doesn't, like, it just feels cleaner and more professional because it's like spread out. Like it just feels a
Yeah.
lot more like of what I think my business level is at right
Yeah,
now.
represent yourself
Yes.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. So
It is cool.
we talked about investing in your own
Yes.
company and
Yes.
growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was important.
That was an important topic.
There was good information.
That was
I
a
feel
good
like, in
information.
there.
So
Yes.
Tell us
you
more
were
about
saying
that.
that you, because I was asking about how you even get started in like the
Right,
esthetician
right.
field, and like I didn't realize how many tools and things you can accumulate.
Right.
Like obviously, I've only gotten a facial like once or twice, so I've
Well,
had
you're
some
really
of the
young.
few like things.
But you
I
have
just
no idea
didn't-
what's going
I don't
on.
know what's happening.
Your
I
eyes
don't
are
know what it
closed.
is.
You don't know what
Yeah.
they're doing. I really feel like I can actually expand on that more now. So
Okay,
thank you
great.
for letting me do it twice.
Okay, great.
I do feel like you do start with the bare minimum. You start with like what you want. One nice thing about the school we go to here is, well, she doesn't work there anymore, but there was one of the main ladies that kind of ran the aesthetic program. She was really great about, she carries a lot of product. And I mean, they have a product that they use at school to start you with, so you can kind of learn a little about it. But she would carry that.
Okay.
And so you could just go buy it from her and things like that, like
Yeah.
what you needed at a time and things, just as you need it because you have very limited income. And then you can just kind of grow from there. But like I had said, like skincare was very important to me. Like that's all I wanted to do. And so I just really focused on that. I do like a lot of lashes and brow things, which I love because they're just soothing to do. But skincare is like where I'm always like studying and learning and things like that. So I just focused on that, where like a lot of estheticians will focus on waxing or just lashes. Lash extensions is like where the money's at if you're good at it. So I think a lot of estheticians go into that. I think you start out both and then you can acquire so many more lash clients easier, and everyone wants lashes. And
Yeah.
so like that's very important. So you just kind of grow from there. And then, so I've seen a lot of estheticians start out and then you see them selling all of their skincare because they're like, I'm actually going into this.
I see.
So I think you just kind of dabble until you find what you love.
Yeah.
And you do have to grow slow. Like I had to, when I switched over to only using Eminence products, you have to put a $4,000 order in to start
Holy cow.
with them. And you have
Oh my
to
gosh.
You're
like,
serious.
yeah, it's intense. And it got lost in the mail.
Stop.
That wasn't last week. That was another order.
I was gonna say, is that the
That's
panic?
worthy of tears.
No, that was years ago, and
That's
I was
crazy.
like, well, actually, so at the time when I worked at my salon was behind Paramount, like right there off of 17th,
Yeah.
and now I have all important stuff shipped to my house. After that, like it was so traumatizing, but it came and it was like 8 boxes. It was $4,000, and it said delivered, and I just didn't have it anywhere. Like no one near me had it. I went up and down the businesses. I called FedEx, and they said that someone had signed for it at Classic Interiors, and they were like closed that whole day. They're like, I've contacted them.
Yeah,
It was like,
no.
it was so traumatizing, but Eminence was really great about it. They helped me with everything and stuff. But anyways, like I said, I couldn't have just started with Eminence when I first started. That would have been a dumb business move because I may not have stayed open, and $4,000 would have like sat there.
Yeah.
So I had to wait to do that. But then like once I was growing and once I was like, okay, skincare is what like I'm good at and my business is going to succeed, then I made that leap, but it was still scary.
Did you
know?
ever find the package?
Like half of it came like scattered. Like I think Classic Interiors did end up getting, I can't remember how many boxes it was now. This is like a few years ago, but like half of it came and it was just like these random things. But Eminence was really great and they resent me the shipment. And then like I said, like, oh, I guess I didn't say anything about Jess. But like I said, she was really great and like helped me. And then as the packages did come in, like I returned them back to Eminence, you know, but they were really great about it. But that's so stressful.
Yeah.
You know, I ordered a $900 order last week that got lost in the mail. And I had to wait for like 10 days for UPS to decide it was lost. Like
That's
it
so
stopped
annoying.
tracking for a really long
Yeah.
time. And then I opened a claim. It was lost in Illinois and I opened a claim and the next morning they found it in Los Angeles and shipped it to me. So I was like, if I could have opened this
That's
claim, would you
weird.
have found it? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard because things like that, like right now, like you have like trending things and things that everybody wants to do. And so like, that's very much a product that I can't keep in stock right now.
I see.
So when they're 10 to 12 days late, that's a lot of clients
Yeah.
you're moving,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, that gets stressful.
yeah.
Really just mail, I guess, is the only problem I've had with my business
Getting things
growing.
on time.
Getting mail
That's
just
crazy.
in general.
I've
yeah.
never heard of such
It's
crazy
feel like-
UPS.
and that's not even like, we've had so much of it. Now I'm just like, I think that's my biggest stress is like, once it gets
Shipping
shipping.
and-
Yeah, shipping.
I remember when we at the mall in Hawaii working there, like we would get shipments from so many random
Right.
businesses where it was like, how did you even send this to me?
Right.
We don't even sell this here. And it was just like, what?
We're like, why did you leave this here?
Well,
Why
and
did
why
you
is
think
the
this-
signature required
Yeah,
if
what
it
is
can be
this-
anybody?
Yeah, true. What does that matter?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
And my signature on the Eminence order was like a type in that just said Classic Interiors. So I couldn't have been like, hey, Brad, I feel like you might have my order at home.
Yeah.
Like it's just Classic Interiors might
Yeah.
have it. So yeah, not to throw them under the bus on this. I don't think they
Sorry,
had anything to do with
guys.
it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
never even showed up there. Like
They were probably just like, what is this? And then it's a box.
I don't
Yeah.
think they ever even got it. I think that was the closest like business to like it was in my strip mall of businesses.
left it there.
So I think the guy was like, this must be the address. I will never know, but order
never
this
know.
FedEx.
That's really cool. They had good customer
person.
service though.
They are really great.
That's
yeah.
probably something that will make you not leave to another brand.
Right. Well, and that's what, like, yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like one thing that like I researched a lot before I chose Eminence. I mean, I love it. I'm also very pro like use what you love. Like I don't tell my clients like this is the only product out there for you. Like
That's good.
medical grade, and I feel like it's all pretty, you know.
Yeah, it should be
Right.
good stuff.
Right. And so I love Eminence. It's what I use. It's what I use in my business. So a lot of my clients will use that. But I also have a lot of clients who have come to me because Eminence is an international known brand and is a very popular brand. And so people will look Eminence up and then see that I'm an esthetician that has that. So that's been really good. Like, so
So
I
they
think
can
it's
reverse
important
find
to
you?
make, yeah, I get
Cool,
that a
great.
lot.
That's awesome.
So it's very important to like
Nice.
research that. But they're also, I mean, I kind of, like I said, the $4,000 was scary, but that also attracted me to them because they take it very serious. Like they're like, do you have this? Do you have $4,000? I think is really what they're asking. Are you legit?
Trying to say that in a nice way.
Right. Can you afford to sell our products? But it also keeps like their reputation where they're at because not a lot of spas carry Eminence because of like theirs.
Yeah,
You know,
I
and I also
see.
had to apply like you have to show them like what your room is and like that you have a section to sell
Wow.
retail. And like I said, I did that like 3 years ago and I still have Jess who I can text her at the drop of a hat and she will text me back or she sends me emails monthly. She comes and sees me quarterly. Like they're just so amazing.
Does she? So she is like supplying the product for you.
Yeah, she works for Eminence. She's an esthetician.
Yeah.
Like, so they hire estheticians. So she definitely has like the experience. She's worked in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And now she works for Eminence, which is nice because then she knows like there's so many products. We're doing so many things. I can't be like an expert on all of it. So she is. And she's so great for all of us. So not even just like on the Eminence part, but she's also just like a very great life coach. You know what I mean? She does like a lot of good business expertise and things like that.
Right, and you
But
mentioned
that's all part
pricing
of it.
earlier,
Yes,
too.
Yes. Yes.
So she talked to you about pricing.
She's like a consultant for you a little bit.
Yeah, like honestly, like she feels like kind of like a work coach. And I also feel like that about a lot of other estheticians too. Like follow the people who are succeeding at what you're doing. And I am now friends with a lot of them and stuff too. So that's super important. There's
That's
a lot
cool.
of other Eminence estheticians in the area or like nearby that have been around a lot longer. And so they're a lot more successful than me at this point. And they just have a lot to offer you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do feel like I've never met an Eminence esthetician that I'm like, I don't know if I want to talk about my life with you. I mean, I rarely met estheticians that I feel that way in general, but you know what I mean? But I do feel like it attracts, like you attract like the certain people.
No, that makes sense
Right.
about like that level. So they
Right.
keep their
Yes.
estheticians at that
Yes.
level. That's a
Yes.
Good
and
idea.
then with that,
Okay.
like I do feel like, yeah, it is a different level. And so you were talking about pricing and like how stressful it is to go with pricing because you want to be cheap so people don't hate you. You know what I mean? Because I think that's your biggest thing. It's not even like, can they afford you? But like, are they judging you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind so much if you don't want to come see me because you can't afford me, but I don't want you like judging me on my prices.
It's not worth it.
Right.
Too much.
I'm like, let me explain it to you. I'll write you an essay. Like, I just have such a need for approval. But I think, you know, Jess helped me a lot with that. Like, she's like, what is the clientele you want? You know? And so that made a big difference because I do get a lot of heartburn over raising my prices. My husband owned a business when he was younger, and he always tells me to like never make an assumption on what someone's willing to pay for something. Because like, obviously, I would pay thousands of dollars for skincare or something. If someone convinced me something was going to do something great for my face, like what did I spend that money on? Where other people would be like, who cares? It's a lotion. You know what I mean? But like you have people who are going to spend their money on their things. Yeah. And so you have to just kind of be confident. I mean, and I'm also like have the skill and the products, I feel like, to bike the pricing. I don't feel like they're outrageous. If they were, that would give me way too much stress and I would lower them. Yeah. But yeah, and you also want to attract that clientele. Like we were saying, like the people who are always shopping around. When I first started, you would get people like when you run promotions and stuff and they're like not that interested. If you have to, I don't want to say because like you should go out and find clients. Like don't just open your business and think that they're gonna like know you're there, right? Yeah. But if you have to go out and like just bribe people with really low prices and deals all the time, like you're never gonna grow a business. Like that's just not gonna grow financially. No. So even if you think you're a little bit slower because your prices are high, it's going to take 2 of clients at that price to fix that. And you're also attracting a different clientele because they're looking for you. Like it makes such a huge difference if you're finding clientele who found you and are like, I need help with this because they're prepared, they know, and they have a problem you want to fix. If you're like trying to convince people to come in and see you, they're like they don't need to come in. This isn't a problem for me. I don't care about it, so I'm not going to keep doing it. Right.
You're just going to waste your energy.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it costs you in the long run, you know?
100%.
And then,
that kind of when we worked in retail, we worked at Hollister and Abercrombie. And back in the day, that used to be like heavily promo dominated.
Say perfumed.
Yes, heavily perfumed as well.
Dark perfume, couldn't see. Yeah.
But so like people would only purchase things when it was like 50% off or $25 jeans, like that crazy deal. And then they just stopped. And business for us was a little bit rough for a second because people weren't buying it anymore. They're waiting for the sale. Right. And then it got to a point where they were like, the sales aren't coming. They were like, we are now training our customers to realize like, this is what we have to offer.
Or if you would have just like put that energy into being like, Hollister's the brand to wear it. People have been like, I'm looking for the brand to wear. Exactly. And you would have grabbed those people who then were ready to pay the price no matter what.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's
but it was
what
interesting to see the mental change in customers because people would get angry at first when they didn't see the sales there. Right. And then about a year later, all of a sudden it was regular to pay $65 for a pair of jeans, where a year ago you had been waiting until that was like half off at least. Like, and then people are like, oh, what a good deal. These jeans are only $65. And it's like the psychology is crazy to watch.
Because you're training your clientele, right?
It is.
And like you're getting excited about something that a year ago they would have been freaking out about. Like
it's like free shipping. Like that's my like I will pay so much more for something if they offer me free shipping.
I'm not paying for that shipping.
But I could save money if they would slash the price and make me pay shipping. And I wouldn't even know it's all coming out of one transaction. But if I see that there's a shipping cost, I'm like, I can't. I got to spend $100 more to save money on shipping.
Yeah.
Just so they're training me the correct way. That's actually the right way to train your clientele.
Because then you think like, oh, well, if I order again, I'm going to have to pay shipping again.
That's what we need to do is just raise all of our shipping costs.
There you go. And then they'll have to hit that point. And it'll be free.
But you are like training, you know, for what you want to come in. And so even if I was a little bit slower at first, which I feel like I was a little bit slower at first too, because I didn't offer all the other lower cost services. A lot of estheticians build their practice with waxes and spray tans. And I like panic over the thought of having to do either of those. It just doesn't sound like any fun to me. And so I didn't have a lot of low dollar services. Like all of my services have kind of been high dollar from the start because it is just skincare really that Colt skincare does. And so it was like, I don't think I ever had to have that. Even when I've had to raise my prices, it wasn't like shock value. It wasn't like I was going from like waxing to microneedling, which is expensive. You know what I mean?
A drastic change there for sure.
But I mean, I have had to raise my prices a couple times and it would have been very hard for me without like people coaching me through it. Definitely like Jess, like she's like, this is who you want coming in. Yeah. So like, is that the clients you want? Because if You have to just put the price at the clients.
So when you got the relationship with Eminence, did she recommend you to raise your prices, or did she already?
So when you kind of like look into it, and like I said, and they're amazing. Don't like, I'm not trying to make them sound like the FBI or anything, but like they're kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna look into you too.
No, it's important.
You know
That's
what I mean?
really cool.
Which that's
awesome.
what
like
I
an
love.
audit on your business.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and that makes me have more trust in them.
For sure.
And then also, like I was saying, is then you have people who, especially right now where we have so much growth from out of the area. Like I have had so many clients who are like, I'm from a lot bigger cities with different spas, but they know what Eminence is. Like, you know what I mean? It's everywhere internationally. So that helps. So like, but that recognition is because they are picky and don't let certain people carry. Well, I'm sure they let everybody. I don't want to make Eminence sound bad ever. But anyway, they're very inclusive. They love everyone. So, but you do have to have $4,000.
Yeah.
As long as you have a nice room, $4,000 and a license. But
that's all it takes.
But you know, so no, Jess was really great. And even when I tell her, like, I'll be like, I don't feel comfortable with that. She's also like, so, you know, you just have to have people in your life that are personable. Like, I just found a new accountant, and it was very important to me to find someone who like understands like my own psychosis. Like, I'm like, you don't have to be a great accountant. You just have to like know where I'm coming from. Because I'm terrified of finances. Yeah. So like, please let me ask the stupidest questions. So you have to find someone that like vibes with you. So like with Jess, like I can be very honest with her. I'm like, I can't do that. Like I just did this and that gave me a 3-day panic attack. So maybe next month, like, but right now I can't deal with that stress. And she'll be like, okay, well, you know what I mean? Like she's never like pushing me, but she is very like, you may be worth more or things like that.
Which is good to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's always very, and she doesn't say it just to say it or just to say it. Cause she's like, the more money my estheticians make, the more money Eminence makes. She's not coming from that perspective. Like she's coming from a perspective of like, let me show you how other businesses have succeeded. And it's scary to say, but like raising your prices is a good way to success because of all these reasons. So she could explain it to me and then I'm like, okay, that's not scary then.
Great.
Yeah. And I definitely did. I've raised my prices twice and I definitely lost clients with each one, but they were all my clients. I mean, I've loved every client. Sorry. And if you left, I mean, it wasn't because of prices. I'm so sorry. But like, they were, sorry to everyone, but they were like my, you know, they weren't clients that I thought were going to be long-term or were my high dollar clients. Not that that's like my value base, but, and my clients that have come to me, because they found me, I would definitely say majority of my clients that have found me through Eminence have been my best clients, my regular clients, my word of mouth clients. Yeah. And so,
And they already like are coming for you and the brand and like they're
No, I do feel like that made a difference. Yes. And so I did raise my prices a little bit shortly after Eminence, but I was also growing significantly at that point. Like I had gotten past COVID. I had a couple of years in. We could start with Eminence. So it was like, it wasn't so much I raised it because of Eminence, but it was like coinciding. Like now I'm up with a better brand. I have more, you know? And then I did have to raise prices again after that because after COVID, I mean, this was probably significant after all COVID, and it wasn't a very big price change, but like everything has just gotten so expensive. Like it's insane, 100%. The price of everything. Right. And so that was more of like an overhead cost. And that was more of me trying to be like, there's formulations to that I've heard, and I'm sure there are. And I'm sure if you knew numbers, you could make those formulations. And I've tried and played, but like, it was more of like that kind of price range. Like my needling pens are more expensive and things like that, you know?
Yeah. How do you? So
things
yours
you can't
is
avoid.
Yes,
yours
exactly.
is harder because you use products and you use things during your services.
Yes,
versus like an hourly type of service. You know
exactly right.
Yeah,
and all of them are like different. Some of them are really just like you're kind of paying for like what I know, but some of them are like my high dollar ones like with microneedling or like when I do like the radio frequency skin tightening things and stuff like that's like a radio frequency machine that the business has, it's not, I mean, I'm not paying to like its own machine. I'm not using reusable products with it every time, but that was a machine we had to invest in.
Had to buy that
like
machine.
And not just, but like with microneedling, I'm using like high quality collagen. That's like an insane amount of collagen that we're putting back that we're paying for. So every service, and that's why skincare is like, I think a little bit more expensive because it's not just the service you're paying for, like you're also paying for the product, right? The chemical peels I do, I'm paying a lot of money to do those chemical peels on you. Like the chemicals are not cheap. Yeah. So like for those kind of pricing. And I think that's hard for people to understand who.
People don't understand those
Right.
factors.
And I think that goes back to like finding your right clientele because people who know skincare and who understand like who are into it and it's like a thing for them, they're like, oh no, of course that's your price. Like that's what a price would be and what you're putting into it. And the results we're going to make complete sense for that price. Yeah. When you get people who are like, I saw you online and I wanted a facial and why are you so expensive? I'm like, I'm sorry. Like
why'd you send me a message
Do you
if you
actually
didn't want to
get
hire
people
me?
that say that bluntly?
I've had a few.
Really?
I mean, yeah, like do you guys, have you never had unhappy people?
No, we've definitely had people reach out where they're like, can I get a discount on this? I'm like, we haven't even talked.
Right.
What do you mean?
You haven't even paid me once for the full price. Why would I give you a discount?
Right. Or like just like passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this is pricey. And I'm like, you know what I mean? But the clients who are like, and you can start to tell that right off the bat, especially clients like nowadays. I say like I owned a business in old days, but a lot of my clientele just text me. And I have a really bad habit of assuming it's me on the other line all the time. So like the first time you text me, I'm probably going to send you 10 emojis because I'm just talking to myself on the other line. I did have one the other day, it wasn't the other day, it was a couple months ago, but I was talking to him all day long. And it's fine. Men can reach out. Men love skincare. But in my head, it was a woman. In my head, it was me on the other like line. So I'm sending like an emoji every other sentence, like LOLs, like, like we're at coffee, like having a girls chat. And then I booked the appointment and I was like, okay, what's your name? And he's like Kevin. And I was like, that's a weird name for a girl, but okay.
Start sending sport emojis.
I'm like, cool. And then like nothing else.
Yeah.
Clinking. Just a K.
Cool, bro. See you soon.
See you, right. And then I'm always like, oh, I hope he wasn't like freaked out by me. Because I just am that personality. So I can't just send you. I mean, everyone that knows me, if I don't send you like 3 emojis in one simple text, they're like, why is she upset with me?
She's upset right now.
Right. And so I have to, it's a hard habit for me to learn, but I feel like you can kind of suss out people just from the texting and things like that. And a few questions in, I'm like, you're not into this. I'm not into this. I'm going to keep talking to you, but I can tell you're not that into it.
For sure.
And so when you get clients who are like, I've been looking into this and I've done this and this is my problem. And you can tell that skincare is a passion for them too. Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, let's do this. They're never a problem. It's the people who are like, I was bored or someone recommended me and I wanted to meet you. So I wanted to come in, but you're charging me money. And I'm like, sorry.
Like, what did you think this was? A hangout?
Always the people that don't have the money that act that way.
Yes.
Yep.
It is.
And it's hard. I guess like one thing too for me, and this may sound very, very harsh, but I'm a luxury service. Like,
yeah.
So it's not breaking my heart if you can't get a chemical peel this month. Feed your kids.
Right.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
If I worked somewhere where I'm like watching someone put bread back, I'd probably be traumatized and like be like, okay, I'll lower the price of bread.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like, okay, we'll just
like you
don't come get a facial.
Like save up for
just
it a little
wait
bit.
till next month, I guess. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't mean that in a mean way. Like I want to be relatable and I think everybody should get those and be happy and have self-care. But it is like, and not just my business. I feel that way about every business.
Anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Don't go to them unless you have money to spend. And
Exactly.
You're ready.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like back to what my husband has said. I don't know anymore. Maybe. But he owned a business when he was younger and he was like, you just need to never assume what someone's willing to pay for a service. Yeah. What was his business? Yeah. He had a carpet cleaning business in Wyoming.
Okay.
And like this is probably like very why it stuck in my head because like carpet cleaning is another passion of mine. No, I'm just same. But like I have a carpet cleaner. My husband's like, they're gonna wear out. Like these are not that old, but I love it's so satisfying. You would probably love skincare. Like it's the same. I watch TikTok videos of like the rug cleanings on TikTok videos.
I've debated it.
I can watch them forever.
Next business idea. We were like, do we open up a garage and just
I've said that all the time that if this doesn't work out, I want to clean carpets. Like I just want to power wash things. Like
I just come watch if you do.
Right. It's so soothing. It's right. So you would love skincare.
You sell tickets for people to come just watch you clean rugs.
It's like AMSR.
Yeah.
What is that?
ASMR.
ASMR. Yeah. But yeah. So anyways, he cleaned carpets, but he's not like as uptight as me. So he's like, I would get people who had really high dollar rugs and were willing to spend thousands of dollars to get these cleaned. Where he's probably like, why do you own this rug? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, can we get one of those rugs one day? So you have to just remember everybody is so different. And so everybody has different passions. We're all spending money. Like, everyone's spending a significant amount of money. So if they're looking at skincare and they're like, oh, that's a lot of money to spend on that, you're spending that money on something. I actually did a hydrofacial. When I first started doing like hydrofacials, and I had 2 women in there, and they were the sweetest women in the world. It was one of my regular clients, and then like her sister from California. So I was so excited because it's just so much fun to like hang out with them and stuff, Yeah. And I couldn't get the thing to work, which would normally be fine because you're laying there like kind of zoned out and don't care. But her sister's sitting in the room with us watching. Right. And then I realized the machine wasn't plugged in. So I'm
the
like,
whole time.
I'm like sitting there like doing this, like fiddling with things, trying to like act cool. But I had no choice but to like stand up and plug the machine in front of her. So I was
suck
like,
it up and do it.
Right, I'm like, oh, I think it needs to be plugged in. She knows me well enough to be like, that probably is a problem for you a lot.
That's great.
Like maybe you should make a sticky note to plug it in.
Plug in machine.
Right. But yeah, like things like that happen.
It happens.
And you
It
have to just,
happens.
yeah. And like when you first start, you're like, I swear a professional get so nervous, and now I just like laugh it off. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Just shit happens.
I did. This one was not cool. It wasn't a client, but like in school, you have to do facials and stuff.
Okay.
And of course, like, it's just my anxiety. It's not hard to wash faces, but like I psych myself out.
Like touching someone else too can be weird.
A little bit, because
For
I don't
me.
like to be touched.
I'm surprised you made it
Yes.
through esthetician school.
I am surprised for so many reasons. And especially because like, yeah, like there you kind of, I mean, not that I refuse that right to everyone. Like I don't turn away half the people that come in. I'm like, oh, sorry, no. But in school, yeah, like and you just have to do so good. At least now when I get nervous and don't do good, it's just my cost. The teachers are like, hey, we're not gonna give you your license. Anyway, so when you have to start doing facials, you're there for like 4 weeks, and then you have to start doing facials. And like my husband comes in and is like very supportive and does the first one. So I got the steamer ready and I'm like turning it on, and it starts like, it took a really long time, longer to get the steamer started than usual, which I would have known that now, but like I was 4 weeks into it and probably use a steamer like once, and it starts spitting out, like not steam, like spitting out like
hot water.
like Nerf gun water shoots at you. Except for all of a sudden the room smells really weird, and I have put, I can't even remember, it wasn't hydrogen peroxide, but what's
Into the steamer?
Into the steamer. Because they were sitting and the containers looked really similar on the floor.
About to blow up.
So the fact that I didn't like melt his face off with like shots of Nerf gun, like hydrogen peroxide at him, like at 90-degree temperature. Anyway, he was really sweet about it. Thank God it was him. Because he's like, I don't think that's water. So I'm like, no, it's not. So I turned it off and fixed that. And then I didn't use a steamer for like 6 months. But then my mother-in-law came in after him because, you know, they're super supportive on my first day and all coming in. And she's like, oh, your room smells so disinfected. And I was like, that it is.
Like, the air is very
nothing
clean
is
in
alive
here.
in this room. We almost didn't make it out.
Just don't open your eyes in this corner.
Right.
Still a little.
I'm like, I don't know if
burning.
Scott's gonna have vision tomorrow, but he seemed fine when he left. So yeah, like I've done so many stupid things, but that was probably the worst. And I'm so glad it was him,
Thank goodness.
because now I will forever check that it's water.
you've learned.
I have
those
learned.
learning moments
Right,
though
but-
that will like
but if that would have
forever
been with-
always go and look.
Yep.
Not that he's not a real person, but if that would have been with a real person,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have gone back to school.
Like that was the
that would have
traumatizing
been
moment to
enough
get
for
you
me.
out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes those nightmare situations to like really get past
It does.
the
yes.
mental hurdle that you have blocking yourself.
And then you just kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I had horrible waxing experiences all through school, but I also was terrified of waxing before. And then the waxing experiences are in school.
Waxing, that would be tough.
And
Like
I
you're talking
don't
Brazilian
want,
wax,
yes,
like
we are
everything.
talking Brazilian. They do manzilians. Like I didn't.
Oh,
you don't have to.
manzilian.
You can if you want to.
Nope,
I would prefer not to, but like
never.
you do have to learn like Brazilians and stuff to get your licensing, even if you don't ever plan on using it.
Yeah.
In Idaho Falls School, they didn't make everyone do it just because of the area we live in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was horrible. Yeah, I just have so much respect
Did you
for
practice
people.
on your husband?
No,
Scott? How was that, Scott?
no, I don't think he likes me that much. But I did try to get myself on once, and that did not go well. But it was less nerve-wracking for
Nightmare.
me because it's going to hurt. I actually am more comfortable with Brazilians because those are going to hurt like hell. So you don't know if I'm doing a bad job. Like
It
you
just
can,
hurts.
you can get your legs waxed, your arms waxed, and you're like, why did that hurt so much more with you than the other women I've used? And I'm like, it's because I'm bad at it. Like, don't let me do it. With a Brazilian, I'm like, I don't know. It hurts horribly. Like, I'm just glad you're awake still, you know? So I'm like, they don't know if I'm bad at it or not. But you do have to, I mean, like for that one, for example, you get like a 20-minute introduction, like on a little screen from a book from the 80s. And then they're like,
Yeah.
okay, practice on each other. Like,
Practice on each other now.
you absolutely do. Yeah.
Now everyone's so hair free.
And then, yeah, you can't, like, you're not allowed to, like, shave or do anything, like, the first month of school so that you're prepared to, like, teach each other how to wax.
Oh,
But-
man.
Side story. But anyway, so, yeah, you practice on each
thought
other.
through.
And then
Yeah.
the next day, someone may come in and expect you to know how to give them a very good Brazilian wax, which is actually very hard. I
Yeah.
know it seems like it wouldn't be.
No, it seems
But
like
it's
it would
very
be
hard.
Like it
I
would
think
be
that
really
seems like
hard.
it would be
It's
really
super super intense. It's very hard. If you have high anxiety, I do not recommend it on either end, because I've done one and I've had one, and I would never do either again. And so, yeah, like, and if you're not, I mean, I know women can do it now and they're like super fast, but even the women who are like been doing it for a really long time super fast, it's still really hard. Like, it's time consuming, it's hard. So if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, the first time I did one, I mean, no name, so it's fine. But like, another esthetician came in with me, and this was the girl who, like, I mean, she's still one of my best friends. She wanted to go into wax, so she was like confident about this. Yeah. Like, she was like, this is my dream come true. Yeah. The first client we got, and this wasn't even her fault, but I had to ask her to flip over so many times. Like, cause I'm like, maybe we'll try it this way. Maybe we'll try it this way. And I'm like, just sitting there, like, and luckily Lexi like knows how psychotic I am. So she's like, you just stand over there and I'm going to finish this up. So I'm like, if I have to ask this woman to flip over one more time, I'm not going to be able to get the words out of my mouth. Like, I feel so bad. I was so horrified, but
just
also
get the shaver out real quick.
Seriously. I'm crying. You're like, oh, it's so bad. But also, like, maybe don't go to schools for Brazilians. I know they need to learn, but
how long does one normally take to do?
I don't know.
Because that sounds, for such a painful thing, like you're saying it takes a while, like
5 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
Like more than an hour?
I would say, I don't know, because
maybe
I'm not
20, 30 minutes that you're in the room?
I would say probably 40 minutes that you're in the room getting waxed if you have someone who's really good at it.
God, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so painful. It's so horrible.
Long time.
It's not any fun. But they do, like, and I mean, there's like, you don't get a lot of men who want to do it around here. Maybe you do, just they don't talk to me about it. But we did have like just one man that would come in regularly, because like the instructors are really good. They've been doing it, and they've been doing it for a long time. So the manzillion that they would do, you would just watch the instructor do it.
I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of questions.
Where does the manzillion stop? How far?
Manzillion is
when the hair's
everything.
gone, the manzillion's everything.
Manzillion is everything.
So like there's a zillion.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
Crotch to butthole, everything.
Yeah, everything. Like if you wanted to go like stomach down, they're not going to tell you no. Whatever you want wax, they'll take
crazy.
Off. I mean, you can tell them not leave that spot. It might be weird. It's up to you.
So they would,
what I'm saying.
They would like wax your balls?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's I think that's like what people want. I think that's more of the draw to it.
Wow, I've never thought about it. This is blowing my mind right now.
It blew my mind. You have to watch so many videos.
Just like the physics of it. I'm like, I don't even. Yeah, okay.
The skincare side of it, I'm like, that's a lot thinner skin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how do you rip something off of that?
Like, I don't know. You're asking. I will inquire.
Again,
I will inquire and email you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because that was me. And I'm like,
I'm going to have to go look up a YouTube video after this. I'm just curious now.
With skin, it has to be really taut. Like, taut's the key word with wax. And I don't know if that will ever get taut enough.
No. How do you do it?
Oh my God.
I don't know. Like,
I'm not comfortable touching another man to like stretch him out.
No. And full honesty.
Like, do you need a helper to like?
I need a helper with women, so probably like you on this.
You stretch this out.
Two helpers.
Oh my
like
God.
Taffy.
Is there a special clamp for that?
Actually, there should be. I bet you could make a good amount of money off of that.
A niche market.
You could,
ball waxing clamp.
I will tell you though, like what surprised me is because I did see the guy.
Loose skin clamp.
Loose skin clamp. Really, just any clamp would probably work. So this guy would come in every 6 weeks and do it. But like I was saying, it wasn't traumatizing for him because it was the woman who's been doing it forever and is teaching us.
He's like used to this too. Like I feel like if you're a regular, that's like what I mean.
Yeah, like and she's been doing it on him, so like that stresses down. But I mean, I don't think it's popular enough around here for sure.
Was he the demonstration guy?
He was the demonstration guy. I didn't go into the room because I was doing something else, and I was like, I know for a fact I will never be giving men waxes.
We're not doing this.
I will be homeless. Yeah. There's so many things I will do first. Just because honestly, full disclosure also, men have a way lower pain tolerance.
Oh, yeah, they do. 100%.
Giving men facials, microneedling men, and I numb you with a very high quality grade. And the only complaints I've ever gotten were from men. I have women fall asleep while I'm microneedling you. It's like tattooing a face without the ink. And women will fall asleep doing it. Every man, my husband, like really struggles with it. So I don't know if they would handle the waxing well.
I believe it.
I can confidently tell you no.
You're like kind of looking a little stressed right now.
No,
I am. I'm like, it's going through my head.
Right.
And I just didn't ever think that.
Right.
I'm still stuck on the waxing the loose skin. I just don't understand.
But I will say, like, okay, so it was just one guy. So I don't think anyone ever really learned this. There was not enough people here for us to all learn.
Not enough education.
But it wasn't like an older farmer, so that really threw me off. I knew he was coming in that day, so I was kind of like, I need to get a peek, which is horrible and unprofessional. And I guess I was just picturing like David from Schitt's Creek, like to come in and I was going to be like, I love you.
Yeah.
Be my best friend.
What the heck?
But then I was also like, I don't know, you're in a tractor all day. That makes sense.
Maybe.
Like, I started thinking the logistics of it.
Yeah. You never know.
Right. You know, like I was just trying to think. Exactly. Like I'm like, I don't know, maybe he's a naked swimmer. I don't know why men need that, but.
Yeah. Questions you need to ask.
It would be questions I would ask, which is probably why I shouldn't do it. I'm like, I actually have a questionnaire for you.
Why?
So why? What does your wife think of this?
Okay, so from our talking earlier, I want to jump back to, we were talking about you going into this career at 36.
Yes.
And how that would have been different if you were 22 going into this career.
Yes.
So I want to talk about that.
Well, I was telling you, like, I had 6 girls in my class with me. And I had Bobby, who I love. She was a little bit, like 10 years younger than me. Enough. I say a little bit, but that's just because I forget that I'm as old as I am. But she was a physical therapist or massage therapist already, which is amazing because I feel like those hand in hand are really great. She was very knowledgeable. But then other than that, all the other girls were like in their 20s, early 20s. Like I said, a couple of them went to school with my daughter. And so I know that a lot of them get a little bit frustrated because my business appears to be more successful. It's not as much success as they think they is. I think sometimes, like you escalate what you see online.
For sure.
But it's very different. Like they're all still working jobs. I didn't even have to have a job while I was in school. So that was very nice. I was a lot more fortunate. I was a lot more settled in life. I wasn't stressed about like setting aside money to buy my forever home or like having toddlers and paying for daycare. My daughter we have 5 kids together. Wyatt was the only one left at home. He was in the middle of high school. Like he didn't know where I was. You know what I mean? So I was so fortunate to be able to do all that. And then to be able to grow my business at my pace and I really only ever had to worry about if I could make my work payments, like my rent and everything like that. And even worst case scenario, if we had a really bad month at work, like we could float my business for a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But to have all the stress that I had in my 20s on top of starting a business, I would have not succeeded
like
at all.
All eggs in that basket.
I would have been 2 months into school. I would have been like, I gotta go. Like I know myself way too well. And so there was that. But I also feel like it came with a lot of expertise that when I went to school, I kind of had the confidence to be like, you don't know. Like, I know as much as you know, which I'm sure they loved, but you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't 20 being like, tell me everything. Like, I was kind of like, no, I'm more into just this, and this. And I feel like I just had a lot more confidence. Yeah. And so I was able to take more from that. You knew what you
wanted.
Yes. And I wasn't as naive to think because I have been in college for so long and taken a lot of college classes.
Right. So you were actively also in college because you were doing your therapy.
I wasn't at that. But I was getting my degree in psychology. Yeah. And so so I'd taken college classes, you know what I mean? But when you're young, like you're just and I think if I hadn't had that experience with other college and classes, I maybe like wouldn't have been able to get from it. But I was able to discern like, this isn't going to matter to me later. This I'm going to care about later. So, which is a horrible attitude to have in school, care about everything. But you know what I mean? Like it helped me to like focus and not be overwhelmed. It gives
perspective.
It did give perspective, right. It gave perspective. And I also was like, I just need to do the 6 months, get your license. And they're also very honest with you about it. Any trade, is that a trade school? Is that a vocation? I don't know the difference between trade and vocations and all those words, but I think any school like that where you're getting a certificate, not a degree, and you're going to have to be regulated by the state and stuff, they'll tell you like, we're just here to help you pass the boards and to like make sure you're on the up and up with the state. I mean, they obviously teach you so many things, but I don't think they give you the impression of being like, you're going to be the best esthetician in the world as soon as you get out of here. Like they are very much like your success is on you.
Okay.
Even through school, which is great.
Things or like, is it mainly just on learning how to do the things, not like the making your own business after that?
Can I say upsetting things on here?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
The school I went to now has new owners, but they did have a business class and I had a real beef with it. Yeah. Because it was not a business class. It was horrible and it was like a complete waste of our time. And it was very frustrating for me. And I did get kind of vocal about that because like I said, I was kind of like more of the mom of the group. Like I was looking at so many more kids. There were kids at the school younger than my kids. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like looking at it as of like is this what you would be teaching? Like as a mom perspective, my kid just paid $10,000. Like you paid $10,000 for your aesthetics license. Yeah. So I'm like, she's paying $10,000 to be here. Like you should be doing this, this, and this. And so I was very I would get very vocal about that. So that was a little bit rough for me. Maybe it would have been better if I was younger, but like, I feel like I knew better about like a lot of those things.
we could like see through that direction.
That would be like that's like my biggest goal. I would love to open a school. Like to open a school here really cool. That is like really nice, like really high end. Like people want to go there, even though it's a school. People want the estheticians that leave the school there, you know, like you're almost kind of like giving estheticians that people want to have would be like, is just like my dream.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's so much more you need to set them up with because majority of vocational and trade schools, like I was saying, are going to be self-employed or contract people. They're not going to be people who are working hourly to hourly. Almost every single person in these types of businesses, we have some sort of taxes, whether your taxes are different than mine, like on stress level wise and things like that. Like we like businesses all have.
Business is business.
Business is business, right? Change, like you're going to have to get a checking account. You're going to have to get an LLC. Like they do want you to pay taxes yearly and quarterly. I was shocked. But, you know, and there's different taxes. There's just so many things you don't know. And I feel like there could have been so much more of that learned in school. And there's not. And so, and going over contracts would have been like, I felt like so important. So many of the, and I keep saying girls, which is horrible because anybody can be an esthetician. But so many people going in and out of beauty schools and stuff like that, you're going to go straight into signing a contract with someone. And none of them know how to read contracts, what to look for, or even the importance of reading a contract at that age.
Yeah.
I don't even read contracts half the time at this age.
Yeah, just so vulnerable
like,
to.
Right.
Yeah.
I accept whatever app will ask me to sign to get into anything.
Like I have to, so yes.
Right. Yeah.
I might have just signed away my life.
They own me,
but...
so. Yeah. But what if they don't let me my phone, my life's pretty much over. Yeah. So I'm like, whatever you want. Yeah. But I think like things like that are important. So I would really focus on that because you see that. I've seen just since I've been out of aesthetic school, I've seen an esthetician who was amazing. Was way ahead of me, like practicing years wise. You know, she knows so much. Like she just has so much going for her. She worked for a bigger aesthetic practice in Rexburg and signed a contract with them when she started there that like she couldn't practice for like 4 years within 400 miles of their location afterwards. It happens a lot.
That's a crazy contract.
It happens all the time in beauty industries. Like most spas, most estheticians.
I've never heard of that. That's
just
crazy.
Because they're so competitive.
Oh my gosh.
Which I really try not to be that way with other estheticians. Like I'm like, you be happy, I be happy. If you don't want to be here, I don't want you here.
Wow.
You know? But it's very common here.
Is that ever negotiable? No.
I have no idea.
I don't know if that's a common thing for people to try to negotiate.
Another thing I have learned here in this grown-up world of businesses is a lot of people create contracts not realizing that, like, I've seen contracts come through that I'm like, did you just copy and paste? This isn't a contract. Like, I'll sign it, but like, this is not going to hold up in any situation. So it could have been that situation for all I know, but you know, they were a pretty big business. So I would be surprised if it wasn't a lawyer that had signed theirs up, but it's not uncommon is the point. It's very common in Utah with spas because you'll get, I mean, I can see from one perspective, obviously there's extremes of that, but I think you'll get a lot of spas who invest a lot of money into their estheticians to teach them things like that. But that's normal. What business, like, who don't you learn a trade?
You train your person to work for you.
Have someone who's better than you teach you, and then you go out on your own, which should be the goal. Like for me, like when we open a space and have other estheticians, like I would want them to see them then open their own space. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you have a lot of people with different perspectives business-wise of that. So I can see that they're like just trying to maybe hold on to their investment.
Yeah.
But so I can see if there's maybe like a little bit of a degree or like you can't do, I don't know.
That's
I think nothing
I
should
guess
be
I kind of see it, but it still seems messed up a little bit.
It is very messed up. It is horrible.
Because it's kind of like showing like that they're not competent in themselves to be able to, like that means they're afraid of these students that are coming in. If you're the teacher, you should be confident in shit. You should know everything and like be able to teach these people and still be like, I'm still better than you because.
And if I'm ever worried, like I don't stress about how many estheticians there are out there because like I know I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
And if I'm not succeeding, it's not because of another esthetician succeeding better than me. Like that's just the cold facts.
Like you're not going to blame it on them that you're not succeeding.
Right. Especially here, especially with the growth we've had. Like we have a lot of estheticians here, but I don't feel competition with any esthetician here.
Yeah.
One, we're all significantly different. Like you were like asking me like what you do. Like I said, like you kind of, there's so many different things in aesthetics, you know, that you like kind of find your niche, but not just that. Like I use Eminence because it's natural skincare. I really like the natural skincare, but that's because I also use a lot of prescriptions and drugs and Botox. So I'm not like, ooh, all natural. I'm just like, I'm already getting that somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, let's make this natural. Sure. And so, but you'll get a lot of clients, you know, who are more like, we like this brand. And as long as they, I mean, because they're all great. Like I said, I think they're all very, and as long as it's something you're passionate about, and then you'll find your people who are passionate about. Some people don't want Eminence, and that's great. I'm probably not the esthetician for you. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't ever feel like that competition. So I don't think if there was ever, and I don't think there's anything that we're doing that's like, I mean, we're not chemists by any means. We're not trying to invent new skincare.
Okay.
We're not like in the lab and I'm like, don't take my notes to another company.
I see.
Like we all have the same opportunities. The education's out there for everybody. So for me to be like, I taught you this, but now you can't go do it.
Yeah.
Is so
That's very interesting.
not cool.
Yeah.
It's a little backwards.
It is. And
I've
I feel
never
like
heard
just
of
not
that.
good business vibes.
I feel like if someone was wanting to hire me and had that from the get-go, I'd probably get like kind of like scammy vibes. I'd be like, ugh,
I would,
I don't
absolutely.
know if I...
Like I get the
Yes.
concern in them not wanting to just put themselves out of business.
That's what I mean is I understand like protecting
On paper,
your
it makes
investment.
sense. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, like there's like degrees of that.
Yeah.
So maybe you could be
It's hard.
like, but even then I would probably lose sleep at night if I had become such a success that I was employing other estheticians and one came to me and was like, I want to do what you did. And I'd be like, sorry.
Yeah.
No, like I just don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
That would be really hard for me. And so, and you should want the opposite of that. Like I
Yeah.
love watching other estheticians succeed.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, it's not, I could understand if it was like I could understand if I worked for Eminence and was like in the lab with them creating their next moisturizer.
Sure.
And like figuring out all their secrets and
Yeah.
like all the little trades and then went and worked for another company. Like that I can completely understand.
Yeah.
But I think with things like this, there's just not a reason for that.
Yeah. It's also hard because that's how those big companies get so big is because they do things like that, which make it hard for people to compete
Right.
legally. And then
Right.
they're so big. How do you compete at that point?
And maybe
And
if
then
I was
they
like growing a skincare line, I would have that cutthroat approach. But I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
we're just
an
not-
esthetician.
Yeah.
There's plenty of us. There's plenty of people. As long as I can pay my bills, like honestly, I don't necessarily want to be crazy busy. I mean, but you know what I'm
Like
saying?
the goal is to
Like
have like a good
I don't want
balance. You need
everybody.
a balance.
There's like 300,000 people in Idaho
Yeah.
Falls. Like, do you want all of them?
Like you want to make profit, but you're not trying to be greedy.
Right.
And
And there's a lot of clients I have also learned, which is nice that it's nice that Cold Skincare is successful enough now that I can have this perspective because I'm sure I didn't have it earlier. But now when I find if I have a client that I'm maybe not like, that's not really my vibe, or I follow a lot of other estheticians and I'm good friends with them, I don't look at the clients they have and like feel jealous or competitive because like they fit them so well. And my clients fit me
like
so
that's
well.
their client.
Right. I
Like,
don't
it's
even
not your
feel like
client.
it's a
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't feel like competition to
I
me.
like that perspective.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're you and I'm me. And I think that's what makes us successful.
Yeah.
Because it is like it's aesthetics. It's not life and death. It's skincare. So like you never need to get this stressed or cutthroat or like try to get rid of someone else in the competition. You know what I mean? We're
Get
just
out of town.
estheticians.
at the end of the day, like worst thing you might do is just spray someone with hydrogen peroxide.
Exactly.
Like worst case scenario.
Overheated hydrogen
Yeah.
peroxide. Exactly. But yeah, like I feel like there's plenty of business that like if you're doing good, you don't need to worry about how many other estheticians are doing good. So
Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that perspective. So for someone who's going to open up their own business, what is your key advice that you have for them?
make lots and lots of lists.
Okay.
And I was pretty good about, like I said, because we were older and my husband had owned a business before. I started like right off the bat. I had an LLC. I opened a separate checking account. I'm not very good about keeping things separate in there. But I opened it and that was on the
it's
list.
there.
Right. My next thing on the list is be better about keeping things separate. Put her in copies on your business debit card. It's so hard to do.
Is this for work?
Right. I'm like, how can I make this? Mine's so over the mess. But then I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'll do it in January. Like if it's like one day into the quarter and I make a mistake, I'm like, okay, I'll do it next quarter. Like,
We'll try again next quarter.
I'm like, in 2024, we'll do better. So, but I would do that and I would do better about that. Just like the little basic things. I would also not be scared to like reach out to so many people. I didn't ever feel like I have so many questions. I'm so bad with finances. Like I don't have a business brain. Like I just love skincare. So I have a business. And so I think reaching out to an accountant, sorry, I couldn't figure out what their name were, to reach out to an accountant and to also not be like worried about being picky. When I first reached out to accountants to try to find one, I was taking advice from everybody else that I know owns a business. It's actually really hard to find an accountant. There's a lot of one here that don't take there's so many people that need accountants here. If you need a business, become an accountant because they're hard to get here.
Interesting.
So I would find a lot and they would like email me back and it was obvious that it was like, it seemed like a small accountant place, but it was a bigger corporation. And they'd be like, yeah, if you send us a deposit of $2,500, we'll take a look at your finances.
Oh
like, what's your payroll? And I'm like, I don't, sometimes I pay myself stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I should do it out of the separate account, but I don't.
Yeah.
So, you know, you need to shop around and not be scared to find like, because at that, and I know myself well enough to know, like, I found a lot of accountants locally who were just like such big business and like intimidating people that I'm like, I'm never going to ask you the questions I need to ask you because you stress me out.
No.
So like I'm fine calling around and then exactly. And then I called like this one guy and he was like super chill on the phone. I don't know why this relaxed me, but I feel like he was in his car and for some reason I'm that mess. And so I was like, I take business cards in the car.
Okay.
Like, great, this guy's already got me. But I was like, I don't know anything. I was like, I've been in business this long. Haven't had to pay a bunch of taxes yet, but I've made a significant amount more this year. And I'm so terrified of what's going to happen in January. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, that happens. That's common. That's a normal, terrifying fear. It's not that scary. Mm-hmm. He sent me like the basics. He's like, we'll meet in January and go from there. And I was like instantly like so relieved. And now I'm like, I don't need to do anything financially responsible till January because he told me we'll meet in January.
He told you.
So in January, after I meet with him, I will start doing it all right.
Great.
So it's a free for all till then.
Yeah.
But it made me feel so much better and took that stress off of me. If I would have just gone with the first accountant who intimidated me just over the phone, I would have gone in and then been like, probably lied to him to be like impressive. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. I do that.
I have payroll.
I have stocks, like whatever you guys have. Right, exactly.
Roth IRA.
But I need someone that like I can sound dumb in front of and ask the really dumb questions or I won't get anywhere. And you just need to not be scared to do that. And not be scared to do that with like everybody else that owns businesses. Even if they're not. I've learned so much from other business owners. Obviously, that's why you guys do this. You're like, there's an idea.
We're learning from you right now.
No way.
But you know what I mean? Like, back to taxes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they exist, obviously. I'm American. I pay like personal taxes. Mm-hmm. But I did not know it was going to be so stressful business-wise.
Yeah.
And then I have my photographer, like she does our family photos and does like my business stuff. And so Jaden, she owns her own business. She's significantly younger than me. Mm-hmm. She's definitely one of those girls that like we can be like I can ask her stupid questions and stuff. Like I don't feel dumb being dumb in front of her. But the first time her and I are visiting, she's like casually going over like what percentage of every photography session she has that goes into this. So she has this for her taxes. So she does this and this. Like, I mean, I was blown away. I didn't even understand half of what she was saying to me. I was like listening, but I wasn't understanding anything. And I'm like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I do that.
Right. I'm like, oh yeah, pay taxes. Yeah. I'm like, let me make a note. And so I learned so much from her. And yeah, just basic conversations with anyone. And I would also say, I've learned the most from, like, you have two different people. Like, you have people who want to run a small business or be business owners or entrepreneurs. And so they find, like, I've met people who, like, just kind of looked for what the area needed or, like, what was good business.
Just fill the void.
Yeah. And then they do that because, like, being a business owner is their passion and thrive. Right. And then you have so many people who are like, I want to do this for a living. Like, this is what makes me happy. Yeah. And I have to have a business to make money doing it. And so I've learned a lot from people who are like the opposite perspective. Like, I wouldn't say like I'm artistic by any means, but like I'm more of like the creative, like skincare side. And I don't know anything about business. And so I try really hard to visit with people who are the other side of that. And that has helped me learn so much.
For sure.
Just because there's like, you don't know what you don't know. Like I will constantly be talking to very business-minded people and they will say something that blows my mind. Right. I really hope I don't lose my business license for this one, but I'm not doing it anymore. But I had these like spa girl drinks because they were cute online and I have a fridge and they fit the aesthetic. Like they tasted horrible. I thought they were like wine coolers. My child who's over 21, so it was fine, tried one. They're like insane. Like, I mean, like hardcore drinkers are not gonna be able to finish some of these. This is not like
it's like hard alcohol.
This is not like a wine you can have during your facial and like drive home later or whatever's legal. No, this is like take it home and like drink it the next 3 nights.
That's so funny.
So anyways, I didn't know it when I bought it. But
those are for the manzilians.
Right, take this 30 minutes before. Yeah. I think the only thing worse than getting a Brazilian would be drunk getting a Brazilian.
Oh my gosh. Seriously though.
Like, no,
not being prepared.
And just not capable to keep yourself together. Like who knows what would come out of my mouth or like what I would do physically if I was intoxicated and you were trying to do that to me. Anyway, so I lost track of what I was saying. I'm so sorry.
Okay, the drinks.
Oh, the drinks. So
the nasty drinks.
Yeah, the nasty drinks. And I mean, obviously, like, know your clientele. I know which one of my clientele is not going to be interested in that. But I just thought they were cute, and I put them in my fridge. And once I realized that they were not a chill drink to have at the place, I would send them home. Like, if I had clients that had made an order and I knew they were clients that loved them, like, I would put them in their bag, or I would send them home in, like, a goodie bag, and I just got rid of them. Anyways, fast forward a couple years later, I'm sitting at this, like, event with another woman who owns a business here in town. She runs a hair business. And she was talking about, like, how you can't serve alcohol to your clients. And I was like, oh,
like, what?
I would never do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, because it's not a good time. Like, why are you not doing this?
Yeah.
Which I'm still not, I didn't clarify that on, because I was like, I didn't do that anymore, so it's fine. And I don't know if it's because, like, you can't sell it, like a liquor license. Like, I wasn't selling it.
But
so
as long as
like,
it's prepackaged, from my understanding,
is it okay? Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're not selling it, right?
And I'm not selling it. I was giving it to him.
Yeah.
But, like,
That's fine.
would have never occurred to me
I think.
that you need to.
I think that's fine.
But, like, it would never occur to me to check into that.
Yeah.
Like, to check into
The
serving.
specifics of.
I'm like, they're all over 21. I'm over 21. No one's driving. Like, and so, like, to me, like, I'm just not a business mind like that. Like, there's just so many things that I don't know that I just learned from other people just talking. And I'm like, mental note, quit serving alcohol in the room.
Fire bartender. Write it down.
Like, take bartending out of it. Yes. You need to cut off the bar extension we're putting in.
Love the idea, though.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I know that there's, like, places in California that, like,
Places do that.
You can partake in a gummy.
It's like
before
BYOB
you're-
is all
right.
fine.
That's what I was saying.
BYOG.
Yeah. And so, wait, what's
Bring your own gummy.
I was thinking Graham, and I'm like, that just escalated so quickly.
A lot.
So, yeah, but sorry. But yeah, just things like that I'm like, oh, I would have never thought about that.
Yeah. So just looking at the business.
I'm sure, again, this is
aspects.
something I shouldn't say on the internet. Not that they're, like, watching me that closely, but I have never had someone from the state look at my room yet. It's supposed to, they tell you it's going to happen within the first 3 months. That's, like, the biggest thing you're scared of at school. I know that like I said, COVID happened. And so, like, they weren't doing the visits, although you would think they would up it with COVID. But and then, like, she's like, he, whoever it is, they, like, make the rounds. And then obviously, like, we all hear, like, someone will be Someone's coming. Hey, health inspectors are in town. Yeah. Sorry, health inspectors, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
I actually would rather have them do it. It was like I had such a fear of my kids getting lice in school that I was like, if you would just get lice, I could breathe so much easier so we could move on from this. That's how I feel about the health department. Like, I'm like, if you could just come shut me down and tell me everything I'm doing wrong, I would feel so much better. But it's, like, 4 years in. So, I mean, I think, like, so who knows? Maybe I am doing a lot of things wrong.
No,
I think they're a little overwhelmed,
fine.
you know? Like, I think they're overwhelmed and got a lot going on.
Everything in the government area.
But there's just so many things you don't. And I'm not a business-minded person, so that's where I get stressed. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I can remember everything the state wants me to be doing. I'm very clean. I'm, like, happy with it. But there's so many just random things that don't even make sense. They're just part of the law.
Yeah.
That I know I don't know.
I can see that with yours, like, having that
it's
certifications
stressful.
for the state and
for
stuff.
sure. Yeah, like, I have to have, like, I make people bleed, like, intentionally.
Yeah.
And so,
blood,
right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, intentionally, unintentionally, depends on what we're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I have to have a sharps container. Like, I use needles. So it is a lot. And so that's, like, a little bit stressful that you kind of get more confident over the time. But there's all of those things are just not in my head. And then I get stressed when someone brings them up because I'm like, what else isn't in my head until the next person brings it up.
What am I missing?
So I would just say, like, that was the question. Like, the advice I would give is just talk to every single person and really try to find out if you're a business owner who just wants to be an entrepreneur, talk to the creative ones who are like, this is my passion. And so I'm making a business work, because I think they can give you a lot of insight on how to make connections and how to have, like, the genuineness that people are looking for in a business. You know what I mean? So maybe, like, just seek out what you're not good at.
Get advice from those areas.
Yes.
No, I like that. That's
That's great advice, especially for someone who doesn't have a partner if they're doing something solo, because you're not gonna as conveniently have that person to bounce ideas off of.
And that would be really nice. Like,
to have
that's another thing to, like, kind of think about too.
I have a ton of terrible ideas that Sarah shuts down all the time.
Like, I mean, I have a spouse. He always just tells me my ideas are great. So he's like, I need a wife is what I need.
Yeah, there you go.
Husbands don't work in that aspect. He's like, what? Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm like, what did you hear?
Like, repeat it back to me.
I mean, he also knows I'd probably start crying if he was like, that is a horrible idea. So yeah, I need a wife to tell me what's good and what's not good. I mean, I do have a daughter who's very like brutally honest with me. So
that counts.
That does count. Yeah. And it's good because like, you know, she's 23. She's another group that I'm looking at where I'm in my 40s. So like we kind of cover the dynamics together where I do have to keep in mind, like he's very supportive, but he's a fireman who fishes on his time off. Like, I'm like, you're not my clientele. He's like, I don't know about this. I'm like, you're not who I'm trying to get attention of. Like, 100%. What do you know? Right.
Know your client.
Exactly. Like, I'm like, you're wonderful at what you do, but
we'll keep it there.
I'm not trying to lure you in.
Yeah. Well,
I really don't want my clientele to be all fishermen.
Yeah. Fishermen. All that. There'll be a lot of like skins to like pick,
and we wouldn't last. They don't wear enough SPF. I'd be like, I have to fire you.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, fire the client.
I would have to fire them pretty quickly.
That makes sense.
He's been fired a few times.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that aspect.
Right. I'm like, I'm not going to do this on your skin if you're going to go get burnt. Yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For coming and being on our podcast and
re-recording the first half.
We just got to really get to know you during this time while you were here.
If you guys wanted me to stay longer, I would have.
You know what? I think
we
need to start over. I think.
Okay, podcast is over, is it?
We quit.
Yeah, this is the last one.
My husband would never believe me that I actually, because like I'm just usually so quiet and an introvert, but I like love you guys so much, and so no one would believe that. Yeah. Oh, I'm a huge introvert. I don't talk to people at all ever. Like, this is so weird for me to do. You're very welcome. I think you guys are amazing, but I'm sure half the people, I would have to get a written note from you because no one would believe me that I didn't like call you last night and tell you that like the house got hit by a tornado and I just can't come in. Yeah. So I would need to know if there's not going to be evidence.
Okay, well, we'll show people soon.
I did come and I did do it.
She did do this. She didn't give an excuse.
Nope.
Right, no.
She didn't flake.
You. I appreciate it a lot hearing all of those details.
Yeah. Even the ones no one else will ever hear.
Yes.
I gotta go home and look up a manzillion and how that's done.
I'm gonna have to tell you guys what it was because there's a woman and I can't remember her name, but it fits like it's kind of a dominatrix name, which I feel like if you're gonna succeed at manzilians, like you really should come in with the dominatrix vibe.
That's a good angle.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I would probably do, which is why I don't do it. But I'll have to find her name because she was the one that like we watched all the videos. Like she's definitely the bigwig. She's the one that like people instruct with, and just watching her videos are so hilarious.
She has like a whip. She's like, stop whining.
I mean, but she is kind of like, I would not be surprised if she does somewhere. I mean, she is like, and she just treats them like they're not people. Like she's just like talking and they're not there. And she is so intense. I mean, it's good.
That's kind of how you might have to be with guys though.
Well, and it's an instructional, right.
Like, I don't know, to kind of like humble them a little bit. Like,
I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Last thing I have to say.
That would shut them up real quick, I bet.
So, yeah. But no, and I'm sure it's an instructional video, so she has to be. But you know, you can just tell that she is like, and I'm like, yeah, you kind of have to have that. You can't come in. I can't send you a bunch of emojis while you're confirming your manzillion with me, and then me come in and be like, hi, twinkle, twinkle. I have like my seasonal depression mix on today. So like, right, it just isn't my vibe.
Now turn over.
Again. But yeah, and I don't know if I could ever do one single-handedly. I could never do one single-handedly successfully at school. Yeah. So I'm sure I'm like, I just have a partner. Let me come in. They're running late. Yeah,
leaves.
It wouldn't be good.
Never comes back.
Right. No, I definitely think you need to go with like the assertive, dominant woman type.
Yeah.
If you're gonna thrive in waxing. But yeah, look it up. I'll send you her name and you can look up her videos because they are. And I do think she goes extensively into the tautness.
I don't know if tautness. So curious.
Sounds right.
It is curious. I was fascinated. I mean, I definitely went home and like showed my husband and son the videos. Like, you know, and Scott's like, I'm not going to do that. Wyatt was like, you are not going to do that. Like, he's a very protective child of me. So he was like, you're not going back to school. Oh, he would be horrified if I ever gave a manzillion. Wyatt would have a nervous breakdown.
I had a coworker who was male and he really wanted a manzillion. And so he was complaining about how he couldn't find people. But this was in like Hawaii though.
Right.
Well, I would think you'd find it there for sure.
Right.
But so I guess, lucrative market in general.
Exactly. Well, and here it's so cold all the time. I don't know if that matters. Hopefully you're covered enough. It doesn't matter the temperature outside.
Oh my God.
But I can't help but think that's a little bit of insulation you might want to have.
It's true. Like wintertime, you don't shave your legs. You got to get the extra hair.
I'm just getting so many visuals right now.
Okay, I guess we can end it there. Perfect.
Yeah, let's
Visuals. Perfect. We're done.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Go look up manzilians.
Okay, bye.